All of Joe's fans are watching us today. I see a message here from Joe Ingram says, wow, your guest is sexy.
Thank you very much, Joe, for your comment and acknowledging that.
I don't know how we want to go with this one, especially compared to what we were talking about in the last segment. That's a whole different story.
Exactly.
Joe Ingram is with us. Joe's a trainer, and he trains in a lot of different areas, but it's amazing because he's always up on what's the latest and greatest. Sometimes he's a little quick on it because, he gets into some of these things, dives in deep, and then they're gone pretty quickly. And I don't know if there's a cause and effect there, Joe.
Right. It's quite possible to me. Yes, I've exploited it to the point that it's no longer desirable. Yes.
Were you on MySpace?
I was.
Okay, and that's gone.
Tom and I are still friends today.
Okay.
Yes.
You're on Clubhouse.
Yes.
That one's gone.
Yes, it's gone. It's still technically out there. It's just so dead.
Do we have a pattern going here, Joe?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to spend more time on Facebook.
That one seems to be sticking around a little longer.
Well, no, I'm going to see if I can kill it.
Oh, okay.
So,
and you're probably on TikTok.
I am.
Okay, so that one's doing okay.
TikTok's still getting through, still providing news that we can actually trust. Yes,
that we can actually trust. Okay.
So,
something comes right out of China, so they've got plenty of money, so it's not a problem.
It's true.
Right there.
It's true. They can laugh at us and let us see what's really going on.
Yeah, exactly. So the latest and greatest, and I looked at this, Joe, probably 6 months ago, and I was reporting on ChatGPT, and when it was just as it was coming out, they were just coming out with 4, and it was still when you could hardly get in. 3.5 was there, and if you really wanted to use it, you had to go to 4 and pay for it.
Yep.
And Microsoft came out and said, about what they were doing with it, and a company as big as Microsoft, their stock went up about 10% just because of artificial intelligence.
Correct.
And NVIDIA has gone up, about 300 or 400% there because they're the chip maker for it. Intel's not. Their stock is down.
Correct.
Google's got their Bard, and I don't know if anybody uses it, but that one's helped
I
their
do
stock.
have a story with that one. Yes.
Right. So it's obviously the biggest thing driving the markets right now.
Absolutely. And it's scaring the heck out of a whole bunch of people, which I find funny because how many times have we gone through this where something comes out that changes everything, right? And I go, okay, so our phones have artificial intelligence on it. We've been talking to our phones for a while, right?
Sometimes it's the best conversation I have all day.
It's true. That's because
my wife's not listening. So
yeah,
okay.
No. I was going to say that was talking about me today. Yeah. But no, we've been talking to the, I don't want to say it out loud, but the Amazon robot, because if anybody's at home listening to this, we'll start talking to them. But we've been interacting with AI for a long time. And I mean, artificial intelligence was coined in 1955.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So but again, we're now getting to it. Why? Because this is something we have now been given access to. About a year ago, up comes ChatGPT that says, we'll let you actually talk to the data model and go through. And everybody's like, wow, it was the same thing with Google. Right. Do you remember how many people said the internet's not going to catch on?
Right.
It's not going to be anything. Anywhere. I don't have to. Well, great. If you've got one foot in the grave, then yeah, you don't have to worry about technology and where it's going. Right now, so many people that I find, I spoke at an event and I said, raise your hand if you've heard of AI. Now keep your hand up if you're using it. And literally the room was a much older demographic, but the hands went down.
Did it really?
Yeah. Everybody's hand. It was like 5 people out of 100 people I'm speaking to. And I'm like,
were you speaking at a geriatric convention?
Yes, it was. Well, it was the room of mannequins.
Okay.
So they didn't put their hand up the first time. But no, and I looked at it and I said, wow, there's something wrong. And I said, okay, put your hand up if you're scared of AI because you don't know how to use it. And then all the hands went right back up again. And even the people that had it up before they use it, they're like, I don't know if I'm using it right. I don't know if it's all this other stuff. And it's so cloaked in this shroud of mystery, and they don't know what to do with themselves with it.
So let's get into this a little bit, Joe, because I use ChatGPT every day, and I just saw from one of the coaches that I talked to that we're both cutting in and out. Okay, so I'll move us back here a little bit. So
I blame Ron.
Of course. So I one of the coaches that I have a lot of confidence in, she made a comment on one of her channels that go write in chat. You can use ChatGPT to go write something. And then there's another service you can use to humanize it.
Yeah, you can take anything you put in there. Now, I have a combination of both within ChatGPT,
Both what?
the human writer and ChatGPT. So
Oh.
ChatGPT will write, like for example, anyone who gets an email where it says, "I hope this email finds you well," that's been written by AI. Okay, that's the go-to thing. So if you're going to go use that to make yourself an intro email to somebody, then delete the first sentence and start with sentence number 2 and move forward. But everybody is, you can tell when you read something, it's been written by AI.
Yeah, demystifying whatever
Right.
is AI.
Yes, exactly. Right? Exactly.
Who's ever used the word demystifying in
that's
anything
me.
before?
That's me. I want to demystify it. Yes, because we've been watching a lot of the old castle movies.
Oh, okay.
So I'm in there going, ooh, it's all mystical. In looking at it, what we find is most people, again, because they're afraid of what they don't know, when you go and read something, you go, wow, this person sounds so much smarter than they did last week. Right. And you go, okay, so now that doesn't know how to write like you. So
exactly.
There's a plugin extension for Chrome called AIPRM. And AIPRM, what you do with that one is, again, they've got a simple model and then they've got a paid model, but it's already got prompts built into it. So it's an interface that lays on top of ChatGPT. And you can click on the one that says convert to human written article, 99.9% pass AI detection.
Okay, so I have to go to now I need to have a second thing that I'm paying for.
Yeah, a second plugin that you'll be paying for. So
okay.
if you want the simple ones, but again, once you know a prompt, you can always use it. But there's another bot out there that like Twillo or something like that you can go put it in and let it run through, and it'll make it human written.
Yeah, that must be the other one that we were given just the other day, and I don't even remember it because I haven't used it yet. But I will be. But the whole thing is don't be afraid of it.
No, that I went through and I had a book I started. Right. So I started a book and I was like, I'm going to go put this book out. I'm going to do it. So then I went to ChatGPT and I talked to it just like it's a real person. And I said, hey, I have a book that I need to finish, but I can't have it sound like you. How do I get it to sound like me and have you help me finish the book? And it said, oh, we can definitely do that. Can you give me the title of the book, give me the table of contents, and then add the at least 2 chapters you've written so I can learn your voice.
Okay.
And I said, great. So I uploaded all of that stuff into it, hit the button, and it started spitting out chapters. Wow. And I read it and I was like, this sounds like me. This sounds like me. It did not sound like AI. So I taught it my voice.
And that's scary. If something else sounds like Joe, there may be a problem there.
It's definitely going to cause some rift in the universe.
Continuing our conversation, Joe Ingram, sales genius, Clubhouse genius. Oh, I don't know. No. AI genius. Yeah. He's artificially intelligent.
Right.
Giving us some heads up on using AI to sell anything. And I can tell you over the years, Joe and I have been friends for a long time. We've caused some trouble together.
We have.
Nothing that you're going to find on the top of any newspapers, but there are some people that...
We're old enough that it was before the internet.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
No pictures of some of it.
Exactly.
But Joe's really on top of his game on a lot of these things, and he's very early on when some of the things come up. So I don't know how he gets the information, but he's into it real quick. And there's still a lot of people that aren't using AI, but think about what's going on right now. If you think about the writer's strike, what was one of the biggest items in the writer's strike? They wanted to make sure that there were humans there and not turning it all over to AI. The actors, they wanted to make sure that there were human actors and not images or likeness instead of turning that over to AI. It's coming, or it's here.
It's here. It's just whether or not you're choosing to say, oh, look, it is here.
Right.
Right.
Are you using it? I mean, I'll tell you, I use it every day.
Yes.
I help it. If I get a long email from somebody and I've got the attention span of a 30-year-old, which means about 30 seconds.
Right.
I'll copy the email I'll put a prompt into ChatGPT, please summarize this for me. Put
Yep.
the email in there, and it gives me a summary. Usually it's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it does it without bias, right? So it's just going to go through and it can give you the tone. It can tell you all of these things. I have a Chrome extension for Gmail. So it will pop up and I can just click the button at the bottom, little lightning bolt, and it will go read the email and prepare a response for me.
Is
and
it doing that in ChatGPT or is it doing it in Bard?
ChatGPT.
Oh, okay.
So you connect it to ChatGPT.
Interesting. Okay.
So, but again, it starts to watch what you reply, and so it can develop a reply similar to what you talk to.
So it can be just as snarky as I am.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. I love that. And so I've taken chatbots,
Okay.
right, that have ChatGPT as a default in the background, uploaded all of my sales training into these chatbots that I now sell this to my clients to say, you don't have to have me in your company coaching your sales team. You could have me coach your sales team independently when they want it and how they want it. And it's just a link onto my website that I have. So now they go in, customer sends them an email. They go write a reply to this email, and they paste in the email and it writes a reply back. They copy it and paste it into their CRM tool and send it on its way.
Now, is that for any industry or is it industry specific?
So I have a sales bot for any industry, and then I have a sales bot for automotive, which is my specialty. And so in the automotive one, I have clients, I swear I answer every one of their emails. every one of the requests from a customer is coming back and forth through my tool that, again, it's inexpensive, and it allows the person to learn as they go because they're reading it, copying it, pasting it, putting it in. Now they go, wow, I'm starting to learn.
So you've got all the information that you've uploaded all these things.
Yes, I've pre-filled an artificial intelligent bot.
Wow.
And so it'll just simply go, oh, great, let me go do this. Right?
And you can do that for any industry.
Any industry. Like my sample, I give out a sample bot, right? That is dark psychology. Okay. So dark psychology. So learning more towards manipulation and stuff, because why? Salespeople would prefer that as they go through. So now most of your AI is pre-built to be ethical. And it's like, no, I can't do it. So you ask, hey, how do I get this person to fall in love with me? And it's like, yeah, sorry, we don't play that game.
Okay.
Right? So then
well, I mean, didn't we all do that when we first got our phones? And I like your terminology when the phone bot was on there, and we'd say, hey, bot, we'd use the right name, right?
Yeah, of course.
And where do you bury a dead body? And it used to come back and say,
right.
Give you a snarky response to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And he goes through and goes, okay, well, we could do this, blah, blah, blah. But it was core functionality is to be ethical.
Right.
Right. And so the same thing happened with this. So then I had to teach it to be gray. So there's 50 shades of gray in my chatbots, right?
Okay.
To go in. But that will definitely help you, and it's something to play with.
So if I want to send something out, and I know that you use a terminology, and I don't know that most of us understand it. Okay. Lead magnet.
Lead magnet.
What is a lead magnet?
Okay, so a lead magnet, if you are a business owner, a lead magnet is something to help get you a lead. Okay. So for myself, like if you go on to my website, you'll see there it says enter your email to get a free KPI tracker. So key performance indicator tracker. So you look at that. So you go, oh, I want to get that. So I will give you my email address. We all have those email addresses we only use to get stuff for free on the internet.
Or we should.
Right. Yeah. If not, please go do that.
Yes.
But, so what we do, a lead magnet.
You use Google for that, because then you also get the phone number from Google.
Correct.
So when you have the phone number, you give out your marketing phone number and email.
Yes. And that's the one that I'm getting something for nothing. So if you give me your email address, I add you to my email list. So that's a lead. The magnet is what is the value of the product. Okay. So like right now I have ChatGPT building me, right, 20 tips for the beginner in ChatGPT, 20 tips for the intermediate ChatGPT user, and 20 tips for the expert one. And so then I put all of this in a fancy PDF package that costs me nothing to email to somebody. And then I say, okay, great. Here's what I have. And then you go to the website, you look at it and go, oh, I'll give you my email for that.
Okay.
Okay. And that generates a lead.
But I got to get them to my website though.
You got to put it on a link on your website. Yes.
But I got to get the person to my. Will
Yes,
that same
of course.
thing work in my social media?
Yes, absolutely. It'll work in social media.
I think more people. I'm just guessing, but I think more people are going to Facebook every day than my website. I haven't looked, but I think that's probably accurate.
Then what you would do is say, ChatGPT, create a compelling Facebook post that offers this link to a lead magnet, right? But you can tell it to write you a lead magnet based on your industry. Okay. Then you can tell it create a post that would compel someone to give me their email for this, right? It'll develop a quiz for you. Like you can.
So here's what I've done so much of the time, Joe, and you can tell me whether I'm doing it right or not. I use a product called Evernote, and I put in there what I call recipes.
Okay.
And my recipe is basically what you just said, because I've got to remember. I can't remember. I'm old, so I don't remember everything.
Right.
So I put the same, because we're going to do the same thing. Like you just said, you got 20 prompts for a new ChatGPT user.
Right.
So I have that as part of the recipe. Then the next line is another thing, and the next line, and because there's various stages, because I got to get it to. Here's my line to write the quiz. Here's my line to write the lead magnet. Here's the line to write the Facebook post, and here's the line to use the SMS for texting.
Okay. So
we use those things over and over again, right?
Right. But see how it became manual based on you knowing where to go look.
Right.
Right. And then you going, let me copy paste and go through. What I would rather do is grab ChatGPT. So in ChatGPT, just like when you searched on Google, what did you do? You put in a question, then you learned how to write a better question.
Right.
Okay. Same thing happens with ChatGPT. And so in ChatGPT, you jump into the thing and you start a thread.
Right.
Okay. So if you and I were emailing, Ron, and you asked me a question, you said, Joe, what about Monday the 30th? Right. And then I start a whole new email and send it back to you that says, Ron, I think Monday would be okay. That would be confusing because you don't see the whole rest of the chain that we went back and forth scheduling ourselves. Right. All of a sudden I get an email that goes Monday the 30th. You're like, what is that for?
Right.
What is that for? Same thing happens in ChatGPT. Think of it as 51st date. Okay. Every new chat starts from its base.
So we want to keep everything in the same chat.
In the same chat. So you would name a chat called marketing, right? So for you'd name it RSR marketing. You would explain what Ron Siegel Radio and all of Ron Siegel's different businesses. You can break it out by the business itself.
So I've got 600 threads and I should really only have one.
You would have one. Yeah. I have a business partner one that understands my whole entire business. And I'll say, I need a lead magnet, and it'll go, okay, boom, and it'll grab it. From that, if I go to a new thread and I say, hey, remember the customer avatar we created, right? It goes, I don't have a customer avatar. And so then I go back to my business partner one and go, using the customer avatar, come up with this. And this is how, like, if you go to my LinkedIn, you'll see a whole bunch of posts that I used by capturing a prompt, but in the same context of this. So you can say,
hold that thought, Joe. We're going to come back, continue our conversation. Joe Ingram is with us. He is the sales genius, teaching us AI to help you sell anything. So far, if you missed the last couple of segments, you've missed a lot. Better go back and check them out. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. So we've been talking with Joe, and we're learning about using AI. And obviously, I talk to a lot of folks, but Joe's always one of the best that comes in because he's up on top of all this stuff and actual practical utilization. And I've been using AI every day, and probably wrong every day, but it works for me. So, it's kind of like, Joe, you and I were talking before the broadcast. There's some people out there that want to be perfect and won't do anything until they're perfect.
Right.
My comment is ready, aim, 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 aim. They never do anything.
Correct.
And, I got some education on this, and I've been using it every day. But now that Joe's here, I can start, refining my usage.
Yep.
And that wasn't even a ChatGPT term.
No.
I can refine it and maybe use it more efficiently.
Yes.
Which I like that idea. So now I'm going to start using longer threads because I guess it makes it easier for ChatGPT to understand what we're doing.
Right. It's that email thread that is only about this one subject
Right.
that we go back and forth. So it can always reference the previous emails so it doesn't have to ask the question again. Right.
Nice.
So one of the things I was showing you at the break was that I said, I need you to write copy for my podcast. What information do you need to make it SEO correctly and be appealing? Okay. And it says, okay, now one of the tips I'll say, if I were to do this all over, I would say, you are an expert branding specialist and you work in the podcast
But couldn't I have
industry.
already put that into the custom, whatever they call that thing in here?
You can put it into the custom thing itself,
instructions?
but to me, I have more than one podcast. I have more than one thing. So I want to build a level of expertise that ChatGPT has on my podcast.
Gotcha.
Instead of saying, here's reference material to pull over all the time, it's going to go back through the thread continuously.
Now, are you finding that, when you say write copy, so now are you just basically putting it in a teleprompter and reading it then, or are you more ad lib like we do here?
I'm very ad lib, but what I'm saying is for the actual podcast promotion, for the podcast, when somebody clicks on it, like, do I really want to rewrite your bio when you send it to me to make it happier, more fun, or do whatever, and then try to implement something? No, I just tell it, here's the bio of my guest. Here's the topic we're going to cover. Make me something punchy.
Okay.
And then it goes back through, but I can tell it, make it more urban because this person talks this way. Make it more country because this person talks this way, right? And I can make ChatGPT go through, but it asks me a whole bunch of questions about my podcast. So it has a baseline. So it keeps everything in the correct theme, where if it was left up to me, I would be out there going, guess what? Ron's coming on the show. It's going to be cool.
So now let me ask you this, because when we put together our programs like this, and obviously we're broadcasting on AM and FM radio, so it's not quite the same as podcast world, but there's a lot of similarities.
Yes.
And Josh will take this and he'll cut out the segments where you and I are talking.
Right.
And we know that on YouTube or some of the other services, we can get a transcript of that.
Yes.
Can we take and pull that transcript, plug it into ChatGPT, and say, write me a catchy whatever?
Yes. You take the transcript, say, I want you to review the transcript. Okay. Like if you pay for ChatGPT 4, they have plugins.
Right.
Right. And so I just did one where I said, I wrote 2 books and there's a PDF reader writer prompt that's in there, or a plugin. So I said, I have 2 books that I have written at 2 different times. If I give you both books, can you combine them and get the best out of both? And it was like, sure, give me access to both books.
So now you can have 3 books.
So now I'll have a 3rd book that is a culmination of the other 2 that I wrote at different times throughout.
And now it's going to be, and that I'm assuming then you can also put into that prompt that you want it to be written in your voice, because now it's learning your voice because you just wrote it.
Yeah. So when I have the book, so once it puts those 2 together, I take that and go to my voice prompt and I say, can you rewrite this in my voice?
Okay.
And so now I go there. But again, each one of the prompts has that. But the big key in this, I love to teach people, is that, you know what? Give it an identity. When you start a thread, give it an identity. You wouldn't go, you're a gas station worker that I need advice from you on marketing. You would say, you are a world-class marketer. And that's what you start with. So it has a role.
Okay.
And then that becomes my marketing thread. And then so I'm always consulting with just that. So it's not going to look for information on other than from exact marketing people that have a reputation.
So let's being that you've written a book or 2,
yes,
and ChatGPT is writing your 3rd.
It's combining those other ones. Yes.
Do you have one for AI yet?
Yes, I did. I just finished one. Came out 2 days ago. So Amazon's getting real quick when they proof it now. But what I realized was that as people are getting older, it gets harder to learn stuff.
Right.
So I had the idea of coming up with a book that was Chat GPT for Gen X. So I'm a Gen Xer. So I was like, hey, let's go put this out. So I started writing.
Can you write one, Chat GPT for boomers? So I'm right at the end of the boomer area.
Yes, I could totally go back and
Just go
change
back
it.
and
Yes,
tell-
yeah. So
He's gonna tell ChatGPT to
I'm
write
going to
that.
tell it, go rewrite this book. But what it
For old
was
people.
is it. But Gen X being my generation, I could completely check it and proof it, right, as I went through. But I wanted it to add in appropriate references to Generation X material. So it says in there, like the first chapter is Back to the Future.
Sure.
And we explained, so I went through and explained everything. And then I was like, I need help putting this in the characters the right way. So it took my information and made it so that it says, okay, Marty, let's jump in the DeLorean and go back to the first time we put.
So if you want to
that
have
in
some fun with that, because I have done that a couple times, and I do it for invitations for some of the meetings that we go to. And I've gone into ChatGPT and I've put in there, I want you to write me, and I don't know, maybe Facebook user loves what you're talking about. We don't have
Thank
that
you.
name yet. So I wrote a whole invitation for a group, and I put in there, write this as if you're Jeff Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Exactly. Yes.
And it comes out as
Brilliant.
really, really funny. And you can use it for that and have a good time. So what's the name of the book, Joe?
ChatGPT for Gen X.
ChatGPT for Gen X. And
Right?
it's
the
on
subheader
Amazon.
is From Atari to AI.
From Atari to AI.
Yes.
Okay. So now we know. And go on Amazon. Is that it?
Yeah. If you just go to gptmadeeasy.com, it'll take you right to the book page.
gptmadeeasy.com.
Right.
Figures you'd have a URL for it.
Of course, yeah. Like a 300 plus URL.
There you go. And as always, if you want more information on this stuff, you want to hire Joe, I'm sure he's available for especially automotive businesses. His company does that and teaches and trains in other businesses. And as he mentioned, his on his website, just fill out one of his lead magnet pages, and I'm sure somebody will get back to you.
Exactly.
So
And surprise, there's a chat bot on the page.
There's a chat bot on the page.